All right, let's get started here. Today, like I said before, we have Gatsby Cloud 101. It's an introductory webinar to Gatsby Cloud. It won't be really aimed at the Gatsby framework, but much more setting up your Gatsby website in Gatsby Cloud and learning the ins and outs of our build, preview, and deploy platform. All right, so let's get through some housekeeping. We will record this just so everyone can have a quick instruction video on hand. We'll send an email out in the next 48 hours once we're done. And then also please ask questions in the Q&A tab if you do have them. The chat is a little tough to read through, so Q&A is a better place to store that. And feel free to ask questions as we go through. This is your chance to do a little bit of live Q&A. And like we said, this is an introductory class for the Gatsby Cloud, so don't be shy. Also, just for a quick introduction, my name is Dan Giordano. I run product marketing here, actually, have background with Gatsby. And then we also today have a guest sales engineer, Generosa Lee-Cohen, and she is going to help out today with the demo of our entire Gatsby Cloud platform. And this is what we're going to cover today. We're going to go through Gatsby Cloud sign-up process. She's going to connect VCS. In this case, we're going to use GitHub. Then we're going to build a site. We're actually going to show a few different types of builds. We'll connect to a CMS. Today is going to be Contentful. So if you do use Contentful, that's great. If you don't, many of the same principles apply to other headless CMSs like Datto or even Netlify CMS. And then we'll also show some preview builds and how that works. And then we'll look at hosting. We'll go through the steps that you would take to maybe connect the domain. We won't connect the domain today because it's too hard on a demo URL to constantly take off. But then we'll wrap it up with a little bit of talk about workspaces and how we think you should be using them. So to get started real quick, Gatsby, we were born about 6 years ago at this point. So the framework has been around for a while. The platform at this point has also been around for over 3 years. We have over 50 million downloads of the framework itself, and we have a collection of over 50,000 stars on the GitHub repository. So wildly popular open source language with a growing platform that started out as a builds engine for static sites as we really tried to solve that problem. And then we've moved on to other solution sets around collaboration and hosting your site as well. So let's talk about some of that and just a quick breakdown, and then we'll get right into the demo. So Gatsby open source is the collection of framework and plugins. So we supply this front-end framework for creating rich, optimized, static generated websites. And then we've added on top of that Gatsby Cloud, which we break apart here in kind of 4 sections. We have Gatsby Builds, which is the builds engine for the actual Gatsby project. So we're going to give you faster builds than any other platform out there. Then we have also previews, which we'll talk about as our basically collaboration portion of the application. Then we have hosting and functions. So hosting and functions are our newest sections of the platform. Hosting is where we'll put your website on an edge network to be accessed by end users in production. And then functions is the newest feature we have, and it's actually a serverless function. So we're going to deploy your serverless functions. We're going to take away you managing any infrastructure to create a now dynamic static generated website. So why Gatsby Cloud? We're going to talk about 4 things today, and you'll see them come about constantly in the demo. But we make it easier to create, collaborate, deliver, and then organize. So from a creation standpoint, Gatsby Cloud has 2,500 different starters and plugins right there that automatically hook into your project. We also have CMS integrations we'll look at today that you'll be able to kind of offload onto the cloud, use environment variables, enter all of that information easily into our UI. And again, starters, plugins, and also those CMS top-notch integrations with things like Contentful, Dado, and I think we have over 10 now. So we'll go through that. Then collaboration. Gatsby Cloud has this awesome preview staging environment that we take from draft, and we can auto build all of your content builds or content changes in just seconds. So there's no waiting a long time for your entire website to build. We'll get right down to it and just take that draft data and almost hot reload it into a preview environment. So builds are instantaneous when we're just working with a CMS. And then deliver. Our Edge network is powered by Fastly. We give free SSLs. All traffic is served over HTTPS 2. And it's a fully scalable global network. And again, powered by Fastly, one of the world's largest CDNs. So you're going to get all that built-in security and scalability for your website at any tier. Lastly, we're going to talk about organizing your websites and how workspaces allow you to have different clients organized, maybe different sections of your site, different business functions organized into workspaces that allow different billing, different users, different sites to be attached to that. So that is our quick intro today, and then we will get right to with Generosa. I'm going to stop sharing, Generosa, and allow you to take over.
Sounds good. If the audience can't hear me, please say something now. But I am going to share my screen and make sure you guys can see that. So can you just see my screen where it says getting started? If I could just get a verbal acknowledgement, that would be great.
I can see your screen.
Okay,
yes.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So what I'm gonna cover right now is just like a scenario where you just signed up for Gatsby Cloud. I'm gonna show you how you can set up your site by connecting to your VCS. In this case, it's GitHub. And then I'll show you how to add a site from your repository, connect to the CMS, and that'll be the first set of demo. The second portion will be, I'll show you how when you are now in your site and you want to make changes in Contentful as your CMS, I'll show you how when you make a change, Gatsby Cloud can show a preview, and you can share that preview with your teammates so that they can judge whether this change was a good one. And then you can collaborate and make some more changes. And when you're all happy, you can publish it into Gatsby Cloud. So that will be the two sort of themes for today. So from a getting started perspective, let me actually go to my Gatsby environment. So first thing you do, of course, is you sign up for an account. I already did. And basically you use your VCS credentials, and that is how Gatsby will validate or validate that you're who you are. So in my case, I can log in with GitHub. Gatsby Cloud is using that to validate my credentials. So let me go ahead and do that. I already have a workspace here, as Dan mentioned. So workspaces allow you to build different sites. So if you have different, if you're an agency, you have different clients, you can build a site for one client or one client there. So now what I'm going to do is, pretend we're going to build a new site for one of our customers. So I click add a site. I get the code, the source code from a Git repository, or you can start from a template. In this scenario, my code resides in a Git repository, so I'll choose that. These are the three that we support: GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket. My code resides in GitHub, so I'm going to choose GitHub. And then I'm a member of several organizations, so I will choose my own called glitten. And you just need to point any Gatsby site. So I always call my sites, put the name Gatsby so I know which one is there. I'm going to choose this one called Recipes Gatsby. Gatsby Cloud will ask what branch you want the site to build from. You can use the main, I mean, typically it's the main branch or the master branch, or you can use one of your branches, also, but typically it's the main branch. The base directory here is typically the root. This is the location of Gatsby config. And basically Gatsby Cloud looks at the configuration file to understand what plugins you have and so on and so forth. So you might have it in a different file, a different directory, but typically the root is where it is. And then here is the site name. You can call it your client name. So, I can just say client, development, for example. I can call it that. You may want to have staging, development, QA. Basically then click next. I'm going to connect to Contentful, and then the UI will ask me, to authorize it. And I say, yes, authorize. And now Gatsby Cloud will show different spaces that I have in Contentful. I'm going to choose my Gatsby space. And then I have a space already built called sales. So I'm going to hit that. And if I didn't have my environment variable set up yet, my Gatsby Cloud will ask that question. But in my case, it was already set up. So you see it here as installed. But in your case, if you don't have that set up, you would just have to enter that information. Then you pretty much create your site. And it's that simple. So in a matter of minutes, I got my Gatsby site here already built. So now it's going to build. So that's sort of the first sort of end of the demo, where you can see like from beginning to end, from starting a account, easily build your site. So if you have questions, please speak up or go in the chat or whatnot. Next portion right now is what I'm going to show how you can collaborate on developing your content. So right now I do have a site that's already built, connected to Contentful. And what I want to do is make changes to this site. So this site is right here. It's a pasta recipe site. And as one of the content contributors, my desire is to change the picture of this tagliatelle pasta because it isn't as bright and mouth-watering as the other ones. So I want to change this picture and maybe change some of the content. So what I do is go into my Contentful site where the tagliatelle content is housed. And just as a quick demonstration of how the preview works, because I have my source plugin Contentful already set up in my Gatsby config, if I make a change to the content, so let's say I just add like this is a preview test content. I'm just gonna put in some content here. You notice this, it says saving right here. And if I open preview, you will see this UI here where it says fetching preview info. And it says new preview available, click to view. And I can go to my tagliatelle site, click to view, and you see my, the words I just put in there. So you can see that now this is just a preview site, and the URL also tells you it's got the prefix of preview. So as a team, you can share this URL and like look at the content and see, hey, do we want this? And then you can publish. So that's one scenario. The real thing I really wanted to do was change the picture because, as I said, it's kind of on the darker side. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to change this picture, add a new one from my file, a better one from my file, and add that to Contentful. And then as it's processing, I want to publish the picture only. but I am not publishing the whole change yet to my site. So I'm just publishing the new picture. And if I open my preview, it says it's fetching preview information. Actually, okay, that wasn't the right preview. I'm sorry. Let me just open this. Let me just, yeah, okay. Well, I did publish it. I'm sorry. I would unpublish it. I think that's what happened. But if I open my preview, Gatsby's telling me that it's fetching the preview, and basically I can see the preview of the new picture. As you can see, it's got the preview prefix. So this is, again, a way to show others and share with others how to change things without publishing it. So now everything looks good. I'm going to publish it. And basically this new page with the updated picture will now publish on Gatsby Cloud. So if I go to Gatsby Cloud, it would show me that data is updated from Contentful, because I'm basically publishing a new build. And if I go to my site, I should see the new picture, which is right there. So that's a very quick workflow. And basically what I just showed you, just to recap, is started with how to set up your Gatsby site. Again, just as a reminder, you would need to have the source Contentful plugin on your Gatsby config. In my case, I already added the space ID, environment variable. So when I hit connect to Gatsby Cloud, it already saw that information from my configuration. You also need to install Gatsby plugin, Gatsby Cloud, and this is how Gatsby Cloud can connect your credentials from GitHub. So these 3 source plugins is all you need to really get started. And I think that's all I have for now. So Dan, back to you.
That was awesome. Thank you for that, Generosa. We have one question here about Contentful, but actually it applies to some other ones as well. Andy asked, does Gatsby host their Contentful site in place of a hosting service like Heroku? Contentful is actually managed itself. So you need a Contentful site or like a Contentful subscription and use their service. That'll also be hosted in the cloud. But there are other open source frameworks that you can host locally. Those will still have to be hosted by another service at this time. So you can think about like WordPress or I believe Graph CMS as well. You'd still have to push that into like let's say an S3 bucket, or as was told in the question, Heroku. So you still host that there. It would be accessed only during the build process and preview process. So from a cost perspective, it's going to be incredibly cheap hosting it there, just because you're not going to get like the full traffic that's incurred on a website. If you were to host it, let's say like WP Engine, you'll just incur the cost of Gatsby Cloud and then the edge network built on top of it. But great question. And I think that Generosa, Contentful, the UI you showed us today, that was managed in the cloud, and that just automatically connects.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, great question.
All right. There's another one that was answered. Does Gatsby Cloud support Prismatic CMS? It does. It actually, I'll just go through real quick all of them that it handles out of the box. Prismatic, Contentful, Cosmic, Dado, Sanity, Shopify, which is not such a CMS, but e-commerce platform, Agility, Content Stack, Drupal, Flotique, Graph CMS, Content by Contentful, or by, who makes content? I can't think of it right now. Kentico, sorry. Strappy, and then WordPress, and then Butter CMS. Some of those are open source. They can be hosted by yourselves. Some of them are managed in the cloud. I think they all have kind of their pros and cons. For the most part, we use Contentful here, but all of them have kind of this first-class integration. There are still some that have preview server coming. So like Dado and Sanity are the only two that still have a little bit of work to do on preview, but that's coming down on the pipeline soon. All right, Generosa, there, let's see, one more question. Where do we go for technical help? I'm currently getting a certificate generation failed error for my site. And every time I click request certificate, I get the same error. You can check out gatsbyjs.com/support or also support.gatsbyjs.com. That's probably the quickest place, right, Generosa?
Yes, yeah. Actually, I'm also part of the support team. So yeah, if you just open a support ticket, you can do that in your Gatsby Cloud user interface, and or send us an email. We get tickets through Zendesk, and we help answer those questions or help you get unstuck. So that's
perfect. And you take out a ticket there. Another question is, what is 5 million requests in free hosting plan? So that is on the hosting side, and that is going to be the request that will be incurred each time you send traffic, request a resource. 5 million, it's just a way to measure your consumption on the end user side. It should be pretty good for, I'd say, 1,000 visitors a week, or 1,000 visitors a month. So it's just a kind of a way to proxy consumption. And then lastly, actually, I wanted to bring up too, while if there's any more questions roll in, I did want to bring workspaces up and how they apply to pricing. So each workspace has its own pricing package, and workspaces are divided up by users, sites, and then again, that plan and package that they're attached to. So for agencies, we have a lot of agencies that use multiple workspaces for each of their clients. So they're able to tie down billing to one client, tie down users and access. It's just an easy way to organize. And also same thing with business function. We also see this at larger sites that have multiple workspaces for functions, and it just allows for easier organization once you start to scale your use of both CMSs and front ends on Gatsby Cloud. All right, well, nothing further is rolling in. Generosa, I really want to thank you for stepping in here and giving us this demo. And thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be running these on a bi-weekly basis. So if you have any other questions, feel free to stop by.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you all, and have a good one.